Good evening, everyone. Today is the 18th day of May 2024. And as we all know, May 29 is around the corner. May 29 is a very important date in Nigerian democracy. Apart from the significance of May 29, where the governors and the president are being sworn in, there is another symbolic representation of May 29. On May 29, every governors and the president will complete 1 year in office. May 29 will usher them into their second year in office. Now, this May 29, governors and the president's performance will be measured. It will be measured, they call it 1 year in office, 2 years in office, or 3 years in office. But this time around, it is 1 year in office. And they are going to measure their performance through their infrastructural development, human capital development, insecurity, how they manage inflation and the economy, and so on and so forth, including their policies. Now, before May 29 approaches, so many well-meaning and prominent Nigerians are beginning to assess and give scores to these governors and the president. But this time around, it happens on the Arise News morning show, where the prominent Northern professor, Professor Yusuf, came to grant interview with the anchors of the Arise News and scores Tinubu 0/100. He justified how he scored Tinubu 0/100 based on the current situation and predicament that Nigerians are facing. This is the matter we are going to discuss in this video, but first of all, I want you to listen to what he said.
I'm really surprised they are celebrating. What are they going to celebrate? For them to celebrate where they have put Nigerians to in the last 1 year is honestly been insensitive. You are restricting the discussion to security, which is what concerns the North, where I live, and Katsina, where I live. In spite of, contrary to all the propaganda and half-lies you hear managers of our security peddling around that our national security has improved, particularly in the Northwest and North Central, the story is different on the ground. A large swath of our land, rural areas are controlled by terrorists. Villages are still ransacked and pillaged. Our women are being raped. And our farmers cannot go to the farm because they are chased off the farm. And when they go to farm, they are levied. Our schools, since it's been 10 years since the tragic incidents of Boko Haram abducting 276 girls from Chibok, it's been 10 years. In the 8 months of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we witnessed 8 mass school abductions. From Federal University Gusau, Federal University Dusama, in Ekiti there was one, and in Gada there was one, and most recently in Kuriga. So fellow Nigerians, in 10 years we're still seeing these mass abductions, and this is what has imperiled education in the North. Our highways, I've had the National Security Advisor saying the highways are secure. National Security Advisor, do not insult us that are living here and seeing the nightmare that this insecurity is bringing us. The highways in Nigeria, particularly in the Northwest, they are as unsafe as they have ever been. People have been abducted and killed at will by these terrorists. So do not take an early victory lap. Insecurity is imperiling the lives of people in the North. There are 3 main problems we see in the North: pervasive insecurity, excruciating poverty, and hunger in the land. And the failure of the government, the states and the federal government to secure our people, for them to live their livelihoods, for them to go to the farm and farm. They are not asking for much. They are not asking for Lagos-Calabar Highway, where you spend 15.6 trillion. 56% of the national budget was spent on that, while our people have been taking hostages every time. So, mass abducting children and you getting them out is no success, it's failure. Look at the school in Kuriga, Kaduna State, where these children were abducted. Looked like an abattoir. Schools are not safe. Well, you brought out the 200 and whatever number of children from Kuriga, send them back home. How have you made that school safe? How have you made our schools safe? That our parents, that we can send our children to school. 400 women were abducted in Borno on the 3rd of March. Nobody is talking about them. Nobody. They're unaccounted for and they are lost. Nobody is talking about them, from the government of Borno to the federal government to this national security advisor. Nobody is talking about them. So please do not insult us and tell us security is better. It isn't. It isn't. Because the way we are doing things, we're just doing fire brigade approach. The military is taking hits all over the place, from Delta to Zamfara to Niger to Katsina. Our soldiers have been ambushed and killed every day. In the last 8 months, it's been reported that 500 officers and men have lost their lives in ambush by these terrorists. And any foe that ambushes you has a better intelligence than you. Where are we seeing this? Where are we losing soldiers, officers, and men in ambushes to this ragtag terrorists? So please, please, and please, security is not better. And we get insulted when we hear those that are supposed to advise the president coming to tell the world, at no less a place than the convocation of Usman Danfodio University, that security is better. No, it isn't. It isn't. And we must do better. And the way it's been done, we are not going to get there. Taking care of the security in the north, that which I know of, you must be able to do it sincerely, in a very strategic way, holistically, and involving everybody. I've said it time and time again. Banditry is a social problem that has been left to fester, and we are now increasingly militarizing it. It's not a military problem, and it can never be won on the battlefield. Dialogue is a legitimate tool in any warfare, and we must do that. Zamfara State Governor is saying, oh, there's no dialogue. See where we are today? He's fighting with the Minister of State from Zamfara. And I want all the state governors in the north that have created their armed state militias to tell Nigerians, is security better today than when they came? All these their state militias, what they have done is they've stirred the hornet's nest and increased the bloodshed. We need elders to come in, calm things down. We need bloodshed to reduce. We need this conflict demilitarized. We need our military back to the barracks and save our young men and women from being killed all over the place. The only way to do it is to negotiate, is to go and do dialogue. It's not the job of the military. The military did not bring this mess. It is politicians that brought this mess. The military is brought in to clean after their mess. And they cannot do that because it is not a military problem. No amount of Tucano jets or whatever jets will solve this problem. We are putting the military in a very difficult situation. Politicians are messing this thing up. And hey, where were the state governors? 10 northern state governors went to America to look for solutions to security problems in their land. I've said it again and again, banditry, all our social security problems are local. Solutions must be found locally, not in Abuja, New York City, London, or Washington, D.C., or anywhere else. Go back home and take care of your problems. I see them in the United States telling the Americans, oh, we have issues with no water, we are agrarian, they're the ones to tell you this. For 3 days, you sit down there and just vomiting intelligence to them, instead of sitting down home here and sort yourselves out. Oh, governors are buying armored personnel carriers, APCs. To do what? Is that your job? Is that your responsibility? You're supposed to build hospitals and schools and provide employment. You're wasting money on this instead of sitting down and coming, bringing dialogue and bring peace to your people. There's not going to be peace in this country. There's not going to be any development without reconciliation of our communities. This is not the job of the military. All of us must come in, reconcile, fighting communities before any development happens. I say this because recently I heard the federal government gave 50 billion Pulaku initiative to go and build clinics here and there. I laugh. You're just throwing good money after a very bad idea. The first and foremost thing you should do is find ways to reconcile communities. And only elders, only clerics, only traditional rulers, only people in the community, concerned citizens, can come in and bring peace to their land. Military will not bring peace to Mangu. Military will not bring peace to Zamfara. Military will not bring peace to Kaduna or Niger. Local people must bring peace to themselves. The military is overstretched. It's all over, deployed all across this country. Recently, the military pulled out of two bandit-infested zones in Maru and in Shiroro. They've taken a lot of hits. They pulled out unannounced and left the people that way. It's an indication that should worry us. The military is getting fed up of this. Fed up of this. Our boys are getting battle fatigue. We can solve these problems by everybody getting involved and solving this problem. These are internal conflicts we must solve. You go to Washington, D.C. to tell them about problems in Zamfara, or about problems in the Plateau, or about problems in Benue, when you guys have never sat down. No of these governors have sat down for 3 days, either in Kaduna or NIPS, to discuss our problems. No, they went to Washington, D.C. So the whole thing is messed up. The governors have the levers of the drivers of insecurity. And they know that, not the military. Not the military. Take care of these problems, these things will be solved cheaply. Not by bombs. You cannot use bomb to... Look at, you find a place where vigilantes are killing Fulanis. Fulanis are killing vigilantes. All of them are armed. So what happens when the Air Force comes? Who do they bomb? Who do they bomb? And I hear the Air Force saying, yeah, we have decimated 1,000 terrorists. How can you tell that from the sky? And all the governors in northern Nigeria, where were they when state police was discussed in Abuja? They were in Washington, D.C. It was primarily meant for them, that discussion. Where were they? They were missing in action. They were in Washington, D.C., complaining to strangers, telling them to come and help them. I don't see any responsible governance. And this is why we are where we are. Bad governance and corruption. All these problems can be solved, and nobody can solve it for us. Zamfara is the nidus. Zamfara is the root of banditry in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If we don't take care of Zamfara, we'll only be going after the branches of the cancer that has already spread. Not in Abuja. Big plans from Abuja have not worked over the last 8 years during Buhari's time. And why do we think it will work? Why do we think it will work? What are we doing differently now than what we were doing during Buhari? I was reviewing my clips over the last 4 years. In Katsina, I started with, 4 local governments are under siege, 8 local governments, 10 local governments. Now, 8 years after President Muhammadu Buhari, 22 out of 34 local governments in Katsina, 65% of Katsina are under siege. Tell me how it's getting better. And I want us to review a year in the security in the north. In those states where the governors have created this armed militia, is security better? Are people back to farm? Bloodshed less? Are women raped less? Come on, people, governors, God Almighty has given you this responsibility. You swore your holy book. You will do the right thing.
All right.
You protect the people. And all this state militia you see, where is the center? I don't see the federal government, I don't see the NSA, I don't see the military getting involved in them and reading them the Riot Act. You cannot do that. All right, it was on this program I said it. I mean, we've had 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, and now fast forward, here we are. The Vice President number 4, the Speaker, the Vice President number 2, the Speaker number 4, all the Ministers of Defense, the most senior military officer, the Minister of Police Affairs, the National Security Advisor are from the North. I said it. I was the first to say it on this your program, and that we in the North, we need to look at ourselves and ask that question, why? And all these new entrants, the new NSA, the CDS, they are new entrants into this. We've had an NSA prior to that, the longest serving NSA. All we heard from him each time is just screaming and talking grammars that are meaningless. But here we are. So it's something we need to look at and ask ourselves why. I'm a doctor. Why am I into this? Because this country has given my generation more than we can ever give back. I don't see us, if I die today, I will not be able to live this country the way our parents left it for us. Question is one, corruption and bad governance, leaders of our time. They were good custodians of that which they were invested with. They trained us well. They invested in us. We went into the world from the village primary and secondary schools. We went into the world and competed favorably in some of the best centers in the world. We're back home. We are not going to fold our arms and see that. Primarily, we must look at ourselves in the north. Just don't go around Abuja in your big black SUVs and positions. Positions mean nothing if you don't translate that position into actionable things to benefit your people. Your people voted you in. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I said it again and again, does not know our insecurity, and from his words and deeds, sees all of that as irritants. He's more interested in the economy. He's handed this thing to you, and everybody is doing his own. Governors are acting as supreme, as sovereign. Nobody will sit down collectively together, all of them. All these problems are solvable. Close the door. Why are we where we are? Pervasive insecurity that you've not been able to secure this country for the past 8 years. Excruciating poverty and hunger in the land of plenty. Our people in the north are lining up like defeated people, while in the south they are building a 15.6 trillion highway. We in the north, we are not doing well. We are here in Abuja distributing money to themselves. The Ningi Gate, you forgot? So the failure is ours. I've said it again and again. Position means nothing. All these SUVs you're going around mean nothing, because all of you, we've had chiefs of army staff, chiefs of service, ministers, whatever. When they retire, nobody can go back home and spend the weekend without these big black guns. We are all IDPs in Abuja. We must go back home and fix our land. And only us can do it. Not the military, but us. Military is overstretched. Military cannot do this. It's overstretched all over the country. So, fellow Nigerians have said it. I'm the first to say it. We have failed our people, we leadership of the North.
Yes, Professor spoke well. And I know a lot of people will say, what did Buhari did during his administration? So why are they trying to drag Tinubu? Does it mean that if Buhari failed, meaning Tinubu must fail the way Buhari failed? Anybody that will come after him will continue to fail that manner? I don't know sometimes how we Nigerians reason about what is happening in our society. We try to justify someone because he came from our area, he came from us, and everything he's going to do, we are just going to justify it, even when we are seeing that this man is a serial failure. Look at everything he's doing, he's not succeeding. Instead of us to bring a constructive criticism to make the person to wake up, we see some elements trying to, to appraise them and make them feel that everything is okay. That is what really happened during Muhammadu Buhari's administration, where people were lying to him that Nigerians are happy, Nigerians are okay, forget about this, forget about that. And that was how we wasted 8 years, and now counting. We after 9 years, 10th year of the APC government is what we're about to enter. Anyway, I think Professor spoke the mind of so many Nigerians. I can't say every Nigerian, because some Nigerians still dying while they are smiling. According to Fenda, say suffering and smiling. They are suffering and they are smiling. And I think everything that happens to them will be their fault. Thank you so much for having time to listen. Kindly help me to share this video, subscribe to this channel, and above all, always come by for daily updates. Thank you.